Welcome, fellow fantasy fans. For this video, I'm going to talk about why you should still pick up Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age, and why I consider it one of the best Final Fantasy games. Come on, give this forgettable guy another chance. I'm going to break this down into my top 3 favorite things about the game, and 3 things I didn't care much for, starting with what I liked. The best feature that the Zodiac Age adds to the original is the fast forward feature that lets you move 2 times or 4 times your normal speed without affecting music or cutscenes. I actually bought the original game on the PS2 when it first came out, but I think the reason I got halfway through the game on 2 separate occasions without finishing it was due to the grind required to earn license points and collect loot to sell for weapons and gear. Be warned, you may lose out on the sense of scale, beautiful environments, and overall challenge by overusing this feature. For me, the most important part of any great game is the story, and why I was so disappointed in Final Fantasy XV. The mature story of a political drama between 2 nations at the brink of war feels more like a direct sequel to Final Fantasy Tactics than the main series. The game feels distinctly different, but instantly familiar with Final Fantasy traditions such as items, character names, and monsters that have become a mainstay. The story does become more complex further on, and the game was well paced that I didn't want to stop playing. Another part that I will separate into its own piece are the characters. Each character has their own motivations, and the game had me thinking about whose side each character was on, both the main party and the antagonists. The villains of the story are not always clear, and even as more is revealed towards the end, you feel connected or at least understand the motivations of each side. Unlike the one-dimensional villains of past Final Fantasy games or your average superhero movie, each character feels relatable and not making unrealistic decisions out of pure evil or goodness. Now with things I personally didn't like. The Zodiac Age has 12 license boards that make it easier not to misallocate your license points and ensure your character doesn't feel weaker by investing in low-level weapons or armors of all types. Because you can't change your boards that are tied to jobs, after you select them, by the end of the game, if you're the type of person who likes to max out all stats and try different combinations or completely change the role of your character, you will be unable to do so. Overall, the new changes make it easier for new players, but less flexible in the long run. I found myself only using espers and quickenings a couple of times to see the animations, but preferred fighting battles without using them. The quickenings are never explained in game, and oftentimes I was disappointed with the weak damage caused on bosses even after completing a long chain and obtaining the max amount of quickenings on the license board for each character. Summons are some of the best bosses to fight when obtaining them, but because the 2 other party members disappear when the espers are summoned, you're left mainly healing your esper or providing support. Since I didn't use quickens or espers much, I wish I could have used that resource bar for something else. The main draw that got me hooked on Final Fantasy games in the first place was always the amazing CGI cutscenes that I would drool over. The graphics on the Zodiac Age look amazing on the PS4, and I began to prefer the pre-rendered in-game cutscenes and dialogue compared to the CGI cutscenes. To be fair, there aren't many, but their quality hasn't aged well, and seeing the character models during CGI cutscenes compared to what today's in-game engines can do makes it look like the characters are made out of Play-Doh. With that said, the unique art style, remastered graphics, and the best voice acting I can remember in a JRPG add to an amazing presentation of this game. For anyone who still hasn't beaten the game, or anyone interested in RPGs in general, needs to pick this up and experience it. I highly recommend it and would give it a 9.5 out of 10. Thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed it, please gently tap that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.